Vlog number 5. I'm back. You know, kind of just been banging these out a bit. And with that, I think the thing I want to talk about right now is alone. What does the word alone mean in terms of where many people are at? Um, as far as in terms of this vlog, I am doing this to an audience of me. Um, and I think if you ask a lot of people who, for whatever reason, if they're alone or what that means for them in terms of their relationship to and for and from other people. I know some people have a relationship with God or faith or something along those lines, but yeah, there's a lot of different ways I'm sure to answer that question. I think in some respects, people have a certain position on what it means to be alone. And I think roughly it means that if you're alone, usually it's a consequence for something or something somewhere along the lines of a person's life. Now, I mean, like I said, there's criticisms and all that kind of stuff, but over the 40 years that I've been alive, I want to say that the term being alone has taken on different connotations depending on where you go and what that means in terms of a lot of things. Of course, there are introverts and there are extroverts. There are some people who absolutely wither under the stress and anxiety of being around or with other people. And there are some people that flourish. They love to interact, and that's really where they get their energy from. And I think, regardless to whether or not you probably consider yourself an introvert or extrovert, I think, like all different types, many times you can appreciate different places in your life where maybe it could be more advantageous to be one as opposed to the other. Or you could sometimes identify with one as opposed to the other. I don't think people who are alone necessarily want to be alone. I don't think people who are alone necessarily did anything in their lives to arrive there. But then, like I said before, there are a myriad of different views as to what that means. Some people are not always really honest with themselves or can't be. I think avoidism and whatnot it's a very comforting kind of place. I mean, some people are alone and they're perfectly okay being alone. Some people separate alone from being lonely, and sometimes that's true, and sometimes even those who say it's not true. And it's not necessarily because anyone's being fake or phony. Sometimes it's just really, sometimes it's almost impossible to know other people because it's very, very difficult to know ourselves, who and what we want, and sometimes not always appreciating that, what we want isn't always the thing that you're supposed to get or isn't necessarily good for us or whatever. So what I mean about it, in this vlog is just talking about the expression, the sense, the definition of what it means to be alone. And I think any viewpoint is fair. I think it's very difficult to truly be alone, and I think there are many different places and things that maybe make someone feel like they're alone, and they're actually not. And I think there are also sometimes places where people aren't alone, but depending on the company that they have, they sometimes would rather be alone, even though they don't want to be alone. They just don't want to be with, certain circumstances and situations. And so I think it's very similar to if you've always had a cracker and then suddenly someone gives you a Ritz. And the Ritz is the best cracker that you've ever had. It's worlds apart from what you're always getting. I think in terms of explaining what I meant is I think those types of things can kind of happen too. And I don't think it's always an easy thing to reckon with, but it is a part of our lives now in our society. And I think, we can also have a lot of things that distract us from really having that perspective. But I don't know. It was just something that I thought about. In terms of myself, I'm not alone. In terms of my day-to-day life and loved ones. But I do definitely feel and understand some circumstances when someone may feel alone, even if they're not. And like I said, I'm not alone. I'm blessed and thankful for those loved ones that I have in my life. And that's really something that over the years I've found to be a lot more important than anything else. I mean, in terms of not just not being alone, but I'm saying to you that the value that I have for those who are part of my life, that I love, the person I love, and how that is really just so much more damn important than just about anything else in life. And living with that appreciation and really taking time to know that, the days that you sometimes wish were over are the days that sometimes you can look back on and reflect and oftentimes think, I really wish that I would have taken more time. Because it's the one thing you can't get back once you've spent it. So, like I said, being alone, there's lots of different places people might be and different perspectives people that will have, and that'll sometimes change as well. And I think that, at least for me, it is as long as I'm alone with the person that I love the most, that makes that life worth living, I think life is a success. But I also think that if you're alone, maybe not alone, either one, with the person that you don't want to be around or the person that really does not in any way, shape, or form enrich your life and vice versa, then, it's doesn't really matter, you know. You can be alone, but and not like being alone, but you sometimes may not necessarily like whom you're with. And I'm fortunate enough to say that in my life now, I'm not at that place. But I have been, so I can definitely sympathize with a lot of different perspectives. So, what do you think in terms of being alone? What does that mean for you? And so, until the next vlog, see you around.